Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and you know what I like best about Christmas? The surprises. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. I took an allergy pill, but I'm not feeling a damn thing. I'm doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. We are dorking out about 1999's Go. Woo! Written by John August, directed by Doug Liman, and it stars a lot of people. William Fichtner? Sure. Desmond Askew, Scott Wolf. How cute is Scott Wolf?
Everybody's cute in this movie.
Yeah.
Everybody pretty much. I mean, we'll go through it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Fichtner,
thank you. I had forgotten how cute Scott Wolf was and how much he looks like a young Tom Cruise back in the day.
How do they not play brothers,
right?
Or father and son until this point? I mean, how is that fucking possible?
Yeah. Jay Mohr is in there. Sarah Polley. The reason we even decided to do this was we're on a love fest for Sarah Polley right now. Timothy Olyphant.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. So
I didn't know that was him. I'm like, who's this hot guy?
He's so Okay, we're gonna talk about that. Katie Holmes in her I think her first movie role.
Adorable.
Everybody drink. She is real cute. Taye Diggs, Breckenmeyer, Melissa McCarthy in her first movie role. Adorable. Everybody drink. Jane Krakowski. Yes, who I always love her. She brings something a little special every time.
I remember from last National Lampoon's Vacation.
My dad
don't know how to French kiss. My daddy says that doesn't miss.
So gross.
Sick. But she's funny.
She is really, really funny. I need to rewatch 30 Rock. I should just start from like season 2 on because she's gold in that show. Let's start with this, like we always do. Did you see Go in the theater?
I did see Go in the theater, and I super loved it. And then I got the CD, and I would play the CD all the time. And I loved all the performances. There were a lot of teen movies out at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like a nice break from that because I think they're technically teenagers, right? I mean, Sarah Polley's playing 17.
Right.
But these were like teenagers I could relate to because this was how I was.
Yeah. I mean, she says she's 17, but she's living in an apartment. So I assume that she's probably actually like an 18 or 19, but lied to them.
No, Sarah Polley, in real life, she moved out on her own when she was like 14 or 15.
Oh, okay. So you might be right.
Yeah.
She does say she's 17 at one point, so that makes sense. I also saw it in the theater, and I super loved it. Right. I think I saw it multiple times in the theater and bought the soundtrack, listened to the soundtrack all the time. And I know that like so this is 99. Pulp Fiction was 94.
Mm-hmm.
So we had like a lot of Pulp Fiction ripoffs afterwards. And then this one came out, and I remember like friends were like, oh, it's like Pulp Fiction Junior. It's Pulp Fiction babies, like, you know, this kind of thing. And I was like, sure, but I went and saw it anyway. And I was like, I think it's good. I don't think it's just a Pulp Fiction ripoff. I think it's good. I legit like this movie.
Pulp Fiction did change things, everything. And also mainly with timelines.
Yes.
I mean, you could just take a time. You didn't have to do straight 3-act structure. You can move things around. There's also, what's the movie I'm thinking of? Memento.
Yes.
That also was like a part of that too. But I mean, there were a lot of teen movies at the time, and you had like a soundtrack and the thin eyebrows, and we've talked about that before.
Again with the thin eyebrows.
But I think this had just something a little bit extra with it.
Yeah. I super loved it. I still loved it. I think there's how many stories?
Too many.
There's
a lot.
Okay, I think there's 3 or 4 stories going in here, and there is one that definitely did not hold up for me anymore. I will say,
Yes, I think I could guess which one.
Yeah, 1999 Sonia was fine with all of the stories and really liked them. This Sonia was like,
yeah. For me, it's every time Breckenmeyer is on the screen. And I have no problem with him.
Exactly. Yes.
But his character is super annoying.
Yes.
And his sole characteristic as a human,
yes.
his defining characteristic is that he talks with a black accent.
Yes.
And it's very annoying very quickly. And I feel bad for Taye Diggs,
yes.
who's great in this movie.
Yes, he is.
But he has to like put up with this shithead saying the N-word.
Yeah, Taye Diggs is the only non-annoying part of that story. So, like I said, there's four stories going on here, and they all overlap with each other. This one barely overlaps with the other ones, which is why it also feels very out of place. But there's a group of guys all going to Vegas, and one of them is this British guy, and that is Desmond Askew. And his character's name is Simon. I find Simon to be very obnoxious, very annoying, very stupid. Very stupid.
He does the thing where it's a Christmas time in Hollis, Queens.
Yes.
Sorry. But it's Christmas time when this movie takes place. And guys that did this at work when they grab what's the word I'm thinking of? Mistletoe, and puts it over his crotch.
Yes.
It's like, give me a kiss.
Yeah, I'll give you $20 for blowjobs. Fuck off.
Yeah, the sexism and the harassment, which every woman puts up with, and I'm sure somebody as pretty as Sarah Polley constantly had to, and
Yeah, he's just a really obnoxious character. I didn't like spending time with him. Taye Diggs is the only one in that storyline that comes out halfway decent because his character is not stupid. He's not stupid. He's making a poor choice by hanging out with Simon, but in general, he's not stupid.
I'm telling you this. After this weekend that they hang together, Taye Diggs ghosts them.
Oh, for sure. He doesn't hang out with any of those dudes again.
No, because they don't deserve his company. But the stuff in Vegas, I don't know. I like Vegas stories. I just kind of think there's a vibe to Vegas that's kind of fun and sleazy, and the possibilities are endless. But there's what starts with is that Sarah Polley is a young person. She's behind on her rent. She's going to get evicted. She lives alone, or she has a roommate. But there's a guy that she's subbing for, and he's the one that normally can sell drugs for people, ecstasy, which I've never taken. So I don't. I was
going to ask you if you've ever taken ecstasy.
Never.
Me neither.
Yeah. Too chicken.
We're a couple of squares, man.
Well, I'm a square. I admit it.
Yep.
I've done a lot of other stuff, but I just haven't done that. So he's going off to Vegas with his friends, and then. Look, I love this, by the way.
Yes.
Scott Wolf and Jay Mohr, both of them are really good and not annoying at all. And they're playing a closeted gay couple.
Yes.
And they're soap opera actors.
Yes. And I love
this.
I love the clip of the soap opera that they're in, and they're seen together, and how it the music and how it zooms in on their eyes. So it's very soap opera. It's spot on. It is spot on. I love it so much.
They want to party, so they want to. Well, no, they're caught with drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole. We should say there's 4 stories, and they tell them from different perspectives.
Yes.
So from their perspective, from her perspective, it starts with her perspective. She goes to their house. She's going to deliver 20 tabs for $20 or whatever, and Fichtner opens the door, and he's always great, but he's skis. There's something off about this guy from the moment you meet him.
Oh, yeah, he's given off a crazy vibe.
Very strange vibe. And so she immediately senses that something's wrong with this guy. She goes to the bathroom and flushes away the drugs, and then she gets out of the situation by they offer her a beer, and she's, I'm underage. And they get out of there, and so now she's out of the drugs, and she also doesn't have money, and she needs to pay her rent. So she takes allergy pills. She steals them, I think, and then she goes to a rave. I've never been to a rave before.
I was going to ask you about that, too.
But I want to go to that one. That looked fun.
I have never been to a rave. My sister is listening right now, and my sister's like, I went to all the raves. She was totally.
My sister, too.
Yeah, she was totally into that scene, and I was not. No, I would hate it. I wouldn't even want to go to that rave. I'd be like,
No.
it's too loud here. And you'd find me in the rave going, is there air conditioning? Where's your recycling bin? Like, I would hate it there.
Can I get a water, please?
Yeah, it's really hot in here when the
My
music's
sister
real
goes
loud.
to Burning Man.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
This is how different we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my best friends goes to Burning Man all the time, and she's like, you should go. And I was like, come on, you know I would hate it. I don't want to be dirty or hot. I would hate it there.
And high.
I don't want to be any of those things.
No, it's too much.
I'm like, booze is more my jam.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
my-
she's at this fun. It looks like a fun rave.
It does.
I mean,
It does.
And she's dancing with her friends, and that's when Timothy Olyphant is the drug dealer, the original drug dealer,
Mhm.
who looks hot.
So hot. I'm like, when she
Oh.
first meets him, by the way, he's wearing like sweatpants and a Santa hat and no shirt. And I was like, I
tap that.
I was like, I just want to sit on your lap and tell you what I want for Christmas, my friend. Like,
Oh my God. He's like 33 or
Yeah.
something.
By
like
the way, I always think he's hot.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, please. Justified. I
Oh.
mean, everything he's been in. Yeah.
Ooh, just put on a cowboy hat and tell me everything's going to be okay. So hot.
He's so hot. But he sees her at the club.
Yes.
And then she sneaks out, and then her friend who took 2 tabs before she flushed them away. So he's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
That would be my brother, by the way, my brother John. That was
Oh, God.
totally a thing he would do.
Yeah,
Like
man.
those,
so
we don't know what those are, but you should be careful. Go, oh, I'll just take 2.
I'll just take 2. It'll be fine. And
It'll
that's
be fine.
and that's
drink some
Manny,
water.
her friend Manny, who is
Right.
and he is tripping balls. Like he is.
He's a mess.
Yeah.
And he's in her way, but she puts him. She's very nicely putting him aside in a trash area so he doesn't get hurt
Yes.
because she can't carry him. She's a tiny little thing.
Yes.
And then she's going off to get to the car. As she's going off to get to the car, she sees the drug dealer. What's his name? Timothy
Todd.
Olyphant's name.
Todd.
So she sees
Yeah.
Todd.
Todd.
And she's like, fuck. And then all of a sudden, smash, she gets hit by a car.
Yes, it comes out of
And
nowhere in this
Out of
movie.
nowhere. And then it hits her again and she winds up down a ditch. So then Todd's like, well, I guess my problem's solved, but he takes off.
Yes.
And we get all these. And then she wakes up in a hospital and goes to work all limping.
Mhm.
You know, like the kid gets struck by the fence in Jurassic Park when she's doing that kind of thing.
It's just like her like walking into work like limping, carrying
Mhm.
the cash register or carrying the cash drawer. I'm like, how many times have I been that girl? Not hit by a car, but like just strung like fucked up from the night before and like hauling my ass into the movie theater job I had.
Counting the drawer.
Yeah.
Then you have to make sure at the end of the night that it has to
Add up, right?
add up correctly,
Yeah.
which is another fucking nightmare. Cleaning up everything.
Mhm.
And then you have to talk to people and you're wearing a uniform. It's so demeaning sometimes. They're just,
Yes.
It's very draining. I'm always nice to people when they work
Yeah.
those kind of jobs because
Me
I know what
too.
it feels like.
Me
Yeah.
too.
And so we've all been there. I mean, and she kind of Forrest Gumps her way from a problem, but then gets out of it.
Yes.
And hopefully she doesn't hang out with those people
Yeah.
anymore.
And there's in the middle of all of this, there's a scene that's kind of scary because Todd, that's the drug dealer, the hot Timothy, she goes to his place. She asks for 20 hits of ecstasy and he immediately freaks out. He like turns up the stereo, makes her remove her shirt to prove that she's not wearing a wire. And it turns out that this is the limit that goes from like dealing to trafficking or something. And he's like, you just walk in here and just ask for the magic number. And it's kind of the way it's handled. It's kind of scary. Like he does
There's
have
lots of scary here.
yeah. And he's got and he's hot. And like we've mentioned this because he's
You're feeling a lot of emotions when you're
did I mention that he's hot? But like he's also very intimidating
right.
and clearly not someone to be fucked with. And
And it all adds together.
it's so many emotions. So
It's a lot of unease.
yeah, and so there's this whole thing about she gets the drugs from him, but she doesn't have all the money, so she has to leave some collateral, and she leaves Katie Holmes
Yeah,
as
that's all she
collateral,
has.
basically. And the idea is she's leaving her behind for 45 minutes, which turns into way longer. And Katie Holmes is playing a character named Claire, and she's clearly like she's a fun friend, but she's also a buzzkill. Like, or she's the more grounded of the three.
Yeah, she could be a lot whinier. I think she's remarkably patient considering the circumstances that her best friend dumps her with a psycho.
Yes.
A hot psycho for sure. But she's chattel. I mean, they just set her aside. But everybody's great in this movie. The boys, when they're in Vegas, I could do without. I mean, it's a part. I mean, fine. I mean, it's I guess something for the dudes. Like there's a stripper joint. There's sex.
There's like a car chase that goes on way too long in that part where I'm like, okay, this could have been trimmed up. And Simon there is a funny thing where they hit the buffet and the guys eat like all the shrimp, and Taye Diggs is like, don't eat all that shrimp, man. You're going to get sick. And they get horribly sick.
Make these huge shrimp sandwiches.
Yes.
Like they just dump the entire shrimp because they're like, well, it's free. Another thing my brother John would have done.
Yeah, you're like, you can't let all the shrimp go to waste. You got to eat it. And they get like so sick.
Do you remember that? That was Kevin Meaney had a joke. He said the all-you-can-eat buffet. He goes, you're not supposed to eat all you can eat.
I love Kevin Meaney.
Oh, R.I.P. He was so fucking funny.
I love when his jokes didn't work, and he'd be like, I don't care. I don't care. My jokes don't go over. I don't care. I sing that song all the time.
He's so great.
Don't care. And he talks about putting on your big pants. Welcome to our Kevin Meaney podcast.
Appreciation podcast. He was so great.
God,
Look him up on YouTube. His sets are. He was a staple on Comedy Central.
He was
his special. We're a big pants people.
We're big pants people. What are you doing wearing tight pants? Put your big pants on.
Anyway,
sorry,
how did we
everybody.
Get to him? So they're at the buffet.
Oh, because they got to put their big pants on.
Yeah, so they make these gigantic sandwiches of just shrimp.
Yes.
And then they get sick from it. But then they're also in this hotel room. Like one of them, Simon. Yeah. Oh, he's such a pest. He gets lucky. They meet bridesmaids at a wedding, and they get lucky. He gets lucky with two of them.
Yeah.
And then he has to run out of the room naked. There's a lot of butt play here.
There's a whole thing where he like instantly learns about tantric sex just by like the fact that Taye Diggs has mentioned it. So now he knows how to do it, which means he can like fuck these two women repeatedly. And then they somehow set the room on fire. And he's running around naked. Then they go to this Crazy Horse strip club, which I've been to.
You have?
Yeah. I went to Vegas with a bunch of dude friends, and they were like, we're going to go to the Crazy Horse. And they're like, you could probably drink for free there. And I was like, I like drinking for free. So I went, and it was fine. And all the strippers wanted to do lap dances for me, probably because I was the only woman there.
Yeah.
And at the time, I very much looked like Daria. Like, I had, like, big, round, black glasses. And, like, I looked like Daria. They're probably like, I would love to give Daria a lap dance. And I went to use the bathroom at one point, and the ladies' room was also, like, their dressing room or something. And they were all in there, like, doing coke and getting dressed and undressed and putting on lotion and doing all kinds of things. And I was like, oh, hi, I just want to use the bathroom. Hi. And they were like, go ahead. And they were actually really, really nice to me. But anyway, that's my Crazy Horse story. I did not get
safe space for women.
Ironically, exactly. I did not get a private dance. I did not immediately walk in. So immediately, like, Taye Diggs' character's like, do not ask for champagne. We cannot afford that. Don't do it. The first woman who walks by, he's like, I want to go to the champagne room. You know, it's like, you're so stupid.
He's annoying.
And then they tell him, like, there's one rule, don't touch the women. And then immediately touches the women. He's so stupid.
Yeah.
And then he pulls out a gun. He shoots the bouncer in the arm. And that's what starts this whole car chase that I found to be quite boring this time around.
So that whole the Simon storyline. I mean, I just find him a big bucket of who cares after a while. Like he could fall into a ditch. I'm tired of I get tired of him.
Yeah.
I like it. I love the stuff with Jay Mohr and Scott
Yes.
Wolf. I think these are two guys I would never make as a couple. And I'm sure they got shit for doing this like in 1999.
Yes.
That is being as homophobic as they were, straight men.
Yes.
But they're very believable. They look great. They have great chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And William Fichtner and Jane Krakowski is his wife. William Fichtner is a detective. He's undercover, and he tells Scott Wolf at one point, like, you have a great body. Do you work out? Like, it's
yeah, he's clearly like sexually interested in them.
Yes.
But like isn't coming out and saying it. There's a whole thing where like Jay Mohr walks in on him like butt naked, and he's just like, oh, hi, here, smell this cologne I'm wearing. Like, you know, and he's so awkward. And there's a thing where like they're sending off this vibe like maybe they want to swing with this couple.
Yes.
And then it turns into basically they want them to sell Amway. It's like not where you think it's going to go. Like, I mean, maybe they want to do both. Maybe they want to swing with them and sell Amway. But like, it's like the whole scene is so cringy and like awkward and hilarious, I think.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, they are so good. And there's also, while all this is going on, because they're trying to be nice to this cop because they want this cop to sign the paperwork that they have like done their deed and helped them like try to catch a drug dealer, and they won't be charged and they won't be outed. So they're being nice to him, but there's only like so they're trying so hard to be polite. Even like it's so awkward, and all the stuff with the like Amway, which they're calling like Confederated products or something. But there's also a thing where Scott Wolf and Jay Mohr have cheated on each other.
Yes.
And I love how they figure out that it's the same person. And
when they go to the rave, they catch him.
Well, so first they go to his apartment, and that's where we meet Melissa McCarthy, who's so cute, little baby Melissa McCarthy. And she's like, oh my God, you guys missed each other by 3 minutes once. It was really exciting. Like, she's so cute. She's adorable. Everybody drink. Yeah. And then they go to the rave and they track him. That's where and then they cut his hair.
They cut his hair, which is great. Because he has this big mane of hair. And he was very vain about it. So they got it right where it hurt. So it's great. But then they leave that rave. And then you find out they were the ones that ran over Sarah Polley.
Yes.
And then there's the whole thing where they drive back because they're like, we can't just leave this girl in a ditch. We got to go and get her out. And then Jay Mohr is like trying to convince Scott Wolf, and Scott Wolf is crying. And Jay Mohr's like, no, we're just acting. Do you see the lights? There's a hi, Molly. Say hi to Molly.
Hi, Molly.
But then it turns out she's okay, so they drop her off at the hospital.
Yeah, they like prop her up against a car or something and set off the car alarm, and then people call an ambulance, and they're like, see, she's gonna be fine, everything's fine.
Right.
And then while all of this madness is going on, by the way, we still have never Manny's still hiding in an alley somewhere, like totally sleeping it off. And then Katie Holmes is at the rave. She comes out after the rave is over, and she cannot find Sarah Polley or Manny. So she goes to this diner where they always meet up when they get separated at parties. And that's when she runs into hot drug dealer. And they have such a funny conversation about...
It's great.
It's literally my favorite part of the movie is this part where they're sitting in a diner and they're just having a conversation, and she's like, he's like, what are you on? Professional Curiosity. He's like, what are you on? And she's like, ginseng and Dexatrin. And they have this conversation about how much Family Circus sucks. And Family Circus fucking sucks. If you've ever read the comic, it's the fucking worst. Like, everything is like, who ate all these cookies? Not me. Yeah, it's so stupid. And I love the conversation about families. It's just sitting in the corner waiting to suck.
And Christmas presents and how much
Yes.
I think that's even better than the one in Pulp Fiction with Honey Bunny. And
Yeah.
I just think it's more believable, and it's because she at one point says, you don't have to read it. You could always just not read the cartoon. I can't help it.
Yeah, he's like, I hate it, but I'm uncontrollably drawn to it. And and she gives her little monologue about like what she loves about Christmas and also what she likes about him. And she's like, you're just medium cute. And I was like, girl, don't downplay it. Don't downplay it. But she's like, at least you're not fake. Like you know what you're getting with this guy. And I'm like, sure. And then they cut to them making out on the stairs, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And then Scott comes into the picture, and because he shot the arm of the bouncer from the strip club, they followed him back to LA, and then they decide that he's like, okay, since I shot you, you could shoot me in the arm.
Yeah, they're going to shoot Simon in the arm.
And this is the cops not liking this plot point either.
Yeah.
But anyway, he doesn't actually get shot. Well, I don't know if he does. I don't care about Scott. I mean, fuck Scott.
Simon,
whatever.
Yeah, who cares?
I don't even get his name right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Fuck Simon.
Simon. Fuck him. But he's out of the picture. And then Sarah Polley is just kind of going back to work. And she's, how does it end really?
And you have to do that, like, by the way, when you work minimum wage jobs where you probably don't get sick time. When you don't work, you don't get paid. That's what it is. And she has to work. So she just shows up and then while they're at work, Claire, that's Katie Holmes asks, where's Manny? And they're like, oh shit.
We left Manny.
So they like go back to the rave, and Manny's like huddled under a trash can basically, and they go get him. And it turns out that actually Rona, the Sarah Polley character, actually made enough money to pay her rent and has $20 left over. And she's all, ooh, maybe I'll open a savings account.
And then they say, well, what are we going to do for New Year's?
Yeah. And it's like the end.
I liked it.
I did too.
It's very watchable. There's certain scenes Timothy Olyphant of it all is just, I know he's playing a creep, but yeah, he's great. Everybody's really good in it.
Yeah.
And even it's the guy who plays Simon, even though it's not his fault. The character's just super. Simon Baines.
It's not the actor's fault. It's just that character and that storyline. It's not for me. It has not. Right. It has not aged well for me, but it could be other people's favorite part of the movie. I mean, in a way, the movie has a little something for everybody.
It totally does. And I forget how cute Scott Wolf was. I mean, that's the Scott I'm thinking of.
Yeah. He was so cute. I mean, he's probably still very cute, by the way.
I'm sure he is. Yeah. But, and all I do is I look at him like, holy fucking shit. How is he not in a Mission Impossible movie?
Right. I agree. And I want to say, like, William Fichtner. He's another one who every time he shows up and stuff, he's always really, really good. And I couldn't get over how awkward this performance was, but how well done it is. And there's this whole thing where, like, once again, he is always checking them out. He's always feeling them up. And and there's just the questions he asks them where it's just like, would you say you're open to new things? Like, and it just reminds me so much of like Airplane, where it's like, do you like gladiator movies? Like, that kind of vibe where you're like, I know where this is. But once again, you think the whole time it's because he maybe wants to fuck them, when it turns out he just wants them to join his mid-level marketing scam or whatever.
His MLM.
Yes, it's so ridiculous. But it's such a good performance.
It's great. Everyone's really good.
It's
fun. And we didn't mention the soundtrack. The soundtrack's pretty good. I
love the soundtrack.
Yeah. I mean, it's very 1999.
Yes.
And Len, though, that song from Len,
Oh,
Steal My Sunshine,
yes.
I fucking love that song to this day.
I still love that song. It is on quite a few of my playlists.
Yeah.
Gangster Trippin' from Fatboy Slim is, by the way, every soundtrack had a Fatboy Slim song in 99. That was a thing.
Yeah.
And then there's just like, you know, like the song that's called like Fire Up the Shusha by Lion. I was like, that song's fucking catchy as hell. That's been in my head. There's a No Doubt song on here.
Lenny Kravitz,
Eagle Eye Cherry is in here. There's a remake. There's a like Magic Carpet Ride.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah. It's a good. It's still dope. I love that soundtrack.
I like it too. It's really nothing bad to say. I mean, I just didn't like that one storyline. It just hasn't aged well. And Breckenmeyer, I like him, but this part is just.
Yeah, it's not his fault either, by the way. No. It's just clearly not the right part. And I did read like some stuff about the movie where he said that Breckenmeyer, Seth Green, and someone else, they said that they were always auditioning for the same parts and that they would always just show up. And they're like, I wonder who's going to get it this time. And I'm like, it's 100% like Seth Green could have played this part and basically does play this part in Can't Hardly Wait. It's the same part.
It is the same part.
Yeah. I read that originally Timothy Olyphant was supposed to be in Practical Magic. Did you read that?
I read that too, and he was fired, and they were staying in the same hotel or something. So he got this. He did much better. I mean, this is a much better film for him.
Yes, for sure. Aidan Quinn is good in that movie, and I'm glad he took this one just so I could see him with his shirt off and a Santa hat. Really, I'm fine with it.
That one's for the ladies.
It's for the ladies.
But we have to say Sarah Polley is really good.
She is, and that role is actually a really tricky role because she's juggling a lot of things. She's got a lot of plates spinning, but all of her choices make sense for the situation she's in. She's not an obnoxious dum-dum like a Simon in this movie. She's smart. She's doing the best she can. And she's trying to dig herself. You're right when you describe it as like she kind of Forrest Gumps her way through all these situations. Because at one point she goes to the drugstore, or the pharmacy or whatever, and she takes all these like the Dexatrims and the ginsengs and the, whatever, and she's selling them at the rave, telling people that they're ecstasy, and then people are too stupid and stoned already to admit that they're being ripped off. So they're all pretending that they're high and they're all lying to each other. Like, she's selling the really good shit and they're so dumb. But she's really smart about it. It's just, she gets caught. That's all. She just gets caught.
Yeah. I mean, look, I can relate to her character. Just, being that age and being in a weird predicament and just trying to figure your way around it. And definitely I've been in predicaments where I've been up all night doing crazy things.
For sure. Is that the character you relate to the most? Do you think younger Margo would have been the Sarah Polley?
I think I would have been, but I might have turned into the Katie Holmes because I'm a little bit of, because there's some drugs I won't take. But I think, Sarah Polley, I would be the problem solver. Yeah. And I would just keep moving. That's the thing. Like, I would just keep moving. I would never stay in one spot.
See, I was definitely the Katie Holmes. And probably still am a bit of the Katie Holmes. So it makes sense to me that you would be the Sarah Polley, because then we would have hung out. We would have hung out.
We would have hung out, and you would have made out with Timothy Olyphant, not me. So
sweet. So we've done so many 99 movies that I decided to go a different direction. And I Googled like Pulp Fiction ripoffs. That's what people were calling this. Once again, I think it's better than that. But I found a list on IndieWire of other movies that are being lumped into this idea of the Pulp Fiction ripoff, and I thought I would share some with you.
I'm doing something different too, so go for it.
Okay.
I'm glad we're trying something new together.
Yes. That's very Sarah Polley, Katie Holmes of us. Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead.
What a bad movie that is.
I don't know if I've ever seen the whole thing. It came out in 95, by the way, so this would have been a year after Pulp Fiction.
It would have been a year. It would have been the year I moved to New York. And I remember it was one of the last things I watched when I was living with my parents.
Yeah.
And then, I was like, oh, I got to rent this movie because it's an independent movie. It's supposed to be really good. And then I wanted to throw it out the window. I was like, this is fucking stupid.
I love it. Okay, I won't bother then.
No.
The Way of the Gun. Do you remember this
Yeah, that
one?
sounds familiar.
Okay, that's Benicio del Toro and Ryan Phillippe. And I actually remember really liking The Way of the Gun.
I don't think I've seen it, and I like Benicio del Toro, so
yeah,
it's shocking.
I bet you would like it. I think it's written or directed by someone from The Usual Suspects, like Christopher McQuarrie or something like that. I liked Way of the Gun. The Big Hit.
Who's in that?
Marky Mark.
No, thank you.
Hard pass. 2 Days in the Valley.
I actually did some PR work on that movie. It's extremely okay. It's
that's a really good way to describe it. Yeah. Get Shorty.
I like Get Shorty.
Get Shorty is legit great. Like, yeah, it's so good. Here's another one I think you did PR for: 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yep.
Terrible.
Yeah. I remember being disappointed by that one. Here's another one that actually these last 3 are movies that dudes super like, and I'm like, so I'll be curious what you think. Very Bad Things.
Oh yeah, no.
Boondock Saints.
No.
Yes. And Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
I love Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking
Barrels. That's the only one out of those 3 that I would watch again.
I own that soundtrack too, and I played the shit out of it. That was a really good soundtrack.
Yes. So before Guy Ritchie was doing things like Aladdin and Sherlock Holmes movies, he made really fun movie. Actually, he did a movie this past year called Wrath of Man that's supposed to be really good and people really like. And it's born back to the Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrel vibe. So yeah, it's probably worth watching. But yeah, Guy Ritchie, he used to make movies I liked. I liked Snatch. Do you remember Snatch?
I like Snatch too. I liked Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels better. I just thought that was a tighter movie. But Snatch is fun because Brad Pitt's trying to do an Irish accent, which is hilarious.
Brad Pitt and accents.
Whew. So I went a little different too, Sonia, because we've done a lot of 1999 movies. So I looked up the top 10 TV shows of 1999.
Ooh, all right.
Now this is in America, but number 10, Touched by an Angel.
Right? I never watched that one.
My mom did. 9, The Practice.
I watched The Practice occasionally. I was not weekly, but I did watch.
I wasn't a regular, but I did dip into it from time to time. Number 8, 60 Minutes.
Yeah, well, come on.
Yeah. 7, Monday Night Football.
That's still not my jam.
6, Frasier. I liked Frasier.
Yes, lots of people like Frasier. I mean, it was a top 10 show for a reason.
5, Friends, of course.
Yes.
4, remember this, ER.
I watched ER religiously.
Okay, I was talking about this with somebody the other day. Do you remember the doctor that had his arm whacked off by the helicopter?
Yes.
And then he was killed by a helicopter later that crashed on him? This show was batshit.
That show
I loved it.
It was bananas. And
oh my God.
I loved it. I loved ER.
Okay. And then the top 3 were the same show.
Okay. Who
Wants to Be a Millionaire? Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. 3 2, 1.
Yes. That is something.
That was a legit monster Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
It was hugely popular.
Yes. It was so popular. It was supposed to be this like special thing they were doing. We're going to do like a couple, what they did like a couple weeks of it or something. And because it was such a hit, they kept doing it. And then everybody was doing it. So like, it was like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? The Weakest Link.
You are the weakest link.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye. And then you started getting Survivor, American Idol, like all, and it just like every night was like a game show or reality show.
Or a competition show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, God. I used to love Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was fun to watch.
It's
Like,
very anxiety producing because the really high level questions, like the high money,
yeah.
you could legit screw that up because they worded them in just the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch with friends or your family and try to like guess the right answers, but it wore out its welcome pretty quick.
3 nights a week is a lot.
That's a lot.
3 hours a week of that is a lot. And then I think it's popular daytime.
Yes. I used to watch The Voice on NBC for a while. Mm-hmm. And at one point, that shit was on like 4 times a week. And I was like, fuck you, The Voice. I'm like, that's too much.
It's too much. It's the same thing like with The Bachelor. Like I tried getting into that and it's like 3 hours a week.
Yeah. I'm like, let me miss you.
Yeah. Make it bingeable or make me miss you. But don't just hang around all the time. It just gets annoying.
Exactly. What else are you dorking out about?
I finished Spider-Man, the newest one.
And?
Loved it. I really did like it. It's long. It's a long movie, but like a lot of the Marvel films, they're just sort of, but it's very witty. It's clever. It's got a lot of heart to it. The end, I actually got kind of weepy.
Aww.
I love the cast. I think everyone's great. It was really worth it. I actually bought it, and I'm really happy I did because I'll definitely watch that. And of course, right after that, I had to watch Avengers Endgame again.
Oh my gosh, you love that one.
I fucking love that one. I know. I need help.
I should rewatch it too.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I know that we both watched and need to talk about Licorice Pizza.
Yeah.
This is one I really wanted to like. I wanted to like it.
I think I like it fine. I don't hate it like some people.
Yeah.
But I have my issues with it, and I think they're pretty substantive, like the things that I'm annoyed with, like, you know, the casual racism.
Yes.
And the fact that the lead character is a 25-year-old woman dating a 15-year-old boy.
Yes.
Even though he's very smart and ambitious and's got great ideas. But then you have the Bradley Cooper of it all, which is great.
That I'm like, he's doing a thing in this movie. And I like it. Like,
I'm here for it.
Yeah, he's giving off a real crazy vibe. He's upping the stakes. It reminds me of it. I could see people saying like, "Why is this in the movie?" or "This is taking me out of the movie." And it reminds me of scenes. Well, there's like one in Boogie Nights where the
penis.
No, the Alfred Molina, like firecrackers, Sister Christian, like real crazy. They're in some danger in that scene.
I love that scene.
Yeah, but people are always like, that scene's weird. Or even in this scene, it's going to feel different, but I'm going to get there. There's a scene in Fargo where Marge Gunderson meets an old high school friend for dinner.
That scene creeps me out.
And it's supposed to. And it says a lot about Marge Gunderson and how she handles an awkward situation. And it also helps her figure out that sometimes people just lie.
And some people are just bad.
Yeah, and that they lie and that they do it because they're desperate, like desperate for money or for attention or love or whatever. It's an important scene, but people are always like, why is that there? And I think that stuff with Bradley Cooper is there to show like a little bit more about these characters. It's not just a
It's a Hollywood story.
Yes.
And it's LA in the 1970s. And he's still alive. I mean, he was engaged to Pamela Anderson. Like, were they married or something? Or
I don't remember.
She either married him or they're engaged. But this is a man, he was Barbra Streisand's hairdresser. That was his big claim to fame.
Mm-hmm.
And then he became a movie producer. And I think A Star is Born is like one of his first ones, the one she did with Chris Christopherson.
Oh my God, that would totally make sense of why Bradley Cooper might want to get involved here.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what's crazy about it. And then he produced like the Batman movies and all these like big splashy. He became a film producer.
Yes.
He became a very big, he's a legendary one. But he plays him like a maniac.
Yes.
And the waterbeds, I think that's great. For me, I don't like the politician stuff. That was kind of
the part of the politician storyline that I like actually is what happens, and I guess spoilers for Licorice Pizza, y'all, because you should maybe skip this part if you don't want it spoiled.
Yeah.
But it turns out he's a closeted gay man, and he's being kind of dismissive of his lover because he wants to be a politician and he just wants to hide who he is. And the lover is like, this is stupid. Like, we should just be who we are. But I love the scene where she takes the lover home and they hug, and it's very sweet. And like,
I like her.
Yeah, and I like the performances in the movie, by the way, are really good. Like that she's really great. The lead's name, it's Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper Hoffman.
Yeah. He's like 19 years old, 20. Yeah, he's great.
He's great. Like there's no slight on the performances here, but you and I had a conversation about the movie off mic, and I think you really nailed it, because we were like, maybe this is kind of a dude movie, right? And I was like, and that's okay. Like, it's fine that dude movies exist. But you were like, of course it's a dude movie. You're like, he's 15, she's 25, she's beautiful, she drives him everywhere, which I was like, aha! Like, that's something too, like, that I hadn't even thought about when you mentioned it. Like, yes, it is totally like a male fantasy. Yeah, and she doesn't wear a bra.
She doesn't wear a bra, and she's got the hot Jewish girl from the Valley vibe about her. And she's one of the Holmes sisters. And,
yes.
And her family's in there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And they're great.
Yes. I was like,
her father's hilarious.
I loved all the family stuff. There's so much about the movie to love.
There really is. And that's why I was like, I couldn't say I hated it, but there's stuff I think that I just think she's too old.
Yeah.
I don't, at her as a person, she could play younger. I mean, she could, but if she were like 19, 20, maybe 21 years old,
yes,
I could kind of see it more. I just find that 10-year gap a little creepy. And there's something like, what's wrong with her? She can't find a guy her own age.
Yes.
Because, but supposedly it's based on a true story. Who knows? True story.
True story. It doesn't matter to me that it's based on a true story.
No.
Because that's not.
Doesn't make it okay.
It doesn't make it okay. And I just, I couldn't wrap my head around that. Really, like, if they'd made her 19 or 20.
It would have made more sense.
But also, if the roles were reversed, if we were talking about a 15-year-old girl and a 25-year-old man, I would be like, fuck this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I would hate it.
I think the whole thing, it's not Michael Patrick King. That's the guy from, who's the actor in the movie who's married to two different Japanese women?
Michael Higgins.
John Michael Higgins. And he's a character actor. He's in a lot of things, and he's great. But his character, the whole thing is that he keeps marrying Japanese women, and he talks to them, but he does it in a ching-chong kind of racially bizarre way. Yes. And then the whole joke is that, he doesn't really speak Japanese.
Right.
He just keeps marrying. And it's like, I was saying to you, like, it's bothersome to me because I have Asian American friends, I had a lot of women friends, and they're fetishized and
Yes.
treated very weirdly and differently in the world. And you really just don't need another case of that. Like, I get it. We're supposed to laugh at him. He's a buffoon,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's, yeah.
But there's no repercussions for his actions in the movie.
No, and there's no reason for him either,
No.
really. That whole plot line really doesn't need to be there.
No. And I know that a lot of people dismiss it, but I'm like, if it was a different race, would you be okay with it? Like,
Right.
if he was marrying black women and then putting on a black scent when he talked to them, would
be funny like 25, 30 years ago. It wouldn't make it okay.
like, would that be funny to you now? If,
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
and I don't know, maybe maybe that's not a fair comparison, or I don't know, but I don't like it. And I don't like that there's no repercussions for his racism.
And the women don't seem to have any agency over themselves.
Yes.
It's because they can't, I'm guessing they don't speak English or don't understand English. So they're being put in these situations that they're being taken advantage of. It makes me feel icky.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was necessary.
I don't like movies that make me feel icky.
Yeah. That's just our opinion. Lots of people like it, but I think for sure, I think it's a dude film, much more of a dude film. None of my women friends are like, oh my God, Licorice Pizza is amazing. It's like,
that is a really good point. I don't know if I've had a female friend yet say that they like it. And by the way, and some have said that they actively hate it. And some have said it's fine.
right.
It's fine. I haven't met a woman who loves it yet. And that doesn't mean the women don't love it. Like, I'm sure there's some women who love Licorice Pizza. It's just not for us.
It wasn't. I thought the soundtrack was good.
Yes.
And I said, I made a point of saying, like, she looks like Audrey Rose. Alana in the movie, her style sense, I put it on my Twitter feed.
I'm like, by the way, I love all those clothes. Like,
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. And she's really great. She's great.
She's very good. She's excellent. She's perfect. I'm not blaming any of the actors here. It's the storyteller and the stories he chose to tell and how he told them.
Yeah.
That's my issue.
Yeah. I'm like, is it one of the best movies of the year? Not to me. But I haven't seen all of these movies.
It's also a whole lot of running. You were right.
So much. I was like, why are they running all the time? Like, get a bike. Damn.
Yeah. It's like a Forrest Gump segment out of nowhere.
I know.
It turns, yeah.
So we're dropping this episode on Sunday, and it's Oscar Sunday. And I'm sure we'll both be watching the Oscars. And I thought maybe we'd like to chat about some of the Best Picture nominees.
Sure.
And one is Licorice Pizza, which we already talked about. You have seen Belfast.
Yeah, I loved it.
And you said it was really good. Do you think it's going to win?
No.
We have both seen Coda.
Yes.
And we both love Coda. It's really good.
I had somebody on Twitter said, the thing about it's not a best picture because it's not about the picture that makes you feel good. It's the best picture, period.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? If it makes me feel good, that's a great picture, right?
Yeah.
You're taking me out of this crazy world that we're in, and you're making me sob my goddamn eyes out.
Yes.
And I keep thinking about it days later. That's a great movie. Fuck you.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And by the way, I'm like, you could make that, if they want to say that, they could say it about a lot of these movies. I don't know why.
Yes.
People are hating on Coda right now because there's a little bit of a backlash because it's been winning stuff. And they're like, it doesn't feel like a Best Picture winner. And I was like, I don't know. I think it's really good. I think the performances are really great. And I don't know, it touches people's hearts and it's telling a story that we don't always get to hear about. I think it's really good.
Sonia, because all those deaf movies we have to sit
Oh my gosh,
through.
so many deaf
so
movies.
many.
I'm like, I don't know. I didn't see Don't Look Up, even though it's on Netflix. I still haven't watched it. Did you watch that one?
No.
Okay. I did see Drive My Car.
I have not seen that.
Which is on HBO Max if y'all want to stream it. It's a little long. It's Korean. I really, really liked it.
Okay.
I thought it was really good. It's a lot about like loss and moving on with your life. And I really liked it. And here's a movie with like a grown ass man, like probably in his 40s. And he's having it's a relationship, not a romantic relationship, with a girl who's 19. But it's not romantic. It's a friendship. And it's really well done.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a good movie. It's a little long, though. And then Dune.
I saw it. I don't understand it. It looked pretty. I don't understand a fucking thing that happens in Dune in any form. In any movie, any form. It's just my dumbness. But it looked great.
No, you are not dumb. Dune is a very dense movie with a lot of... I think it is hard to understand. And it's really pretty to look at. And once again, everybody's good in it. I like it. I'm actually thinking about watching it again. I'm like, I don't think it's going to win, though. Mm-mm. Did you see King Richard?
No.
I didn't either. And that's another one that's on HBO. I could just watch it.
I know.
And I'll probably really like it. But I haven't watched it. Oh my gosh, I'm just not into it this year, I guess. We already did Licorice Pizza. Nightmare Alley.
I did not like Nightmare Alley.
I didn't either. Again, looks great. Great performances. Don't like. Too long.
Mm-mm.
I seen the original, by the way, and the original's great.
I like the original much better.
Yeah, me too. And then I think you and I disagreed on Power of the Dog.
Yeah, I thought it was boring.
And I really liked it, and I thought Benedict Cumberbatch... once again, I thought all the performances were like thumbs up.
I did too.
In Power of the Dog.
Yeah, and I'd like it to win just to throw it in Sam Elliott's face after his dumb
because
remarks.
Jane Campion could win Best Director. Like, it's Kenneth Branagh for Belfast. Oh, I'm gonna massacre this name for Drive My Car. So it's like Ryu Saki Hamaguchi. I'm sorry, everybody. We know I suck at this. Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for Power of the Dog, and then Steven Spielberg for West Side Story.
I would like to see Spielberg win for West Side Story. I really liked West Side Story very much. I saw that 3 times. It's on Disney.
Wow.
I stupid love it. Yeah. But I really love the story.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a sucker for it. I think it's just beautiful. I loved what he did to update it. Mm-hmm. It looks great. It's beautiful. It's cohesive. I really enjoyed it. I would not be mad if Kenneth Branagh won, though. I thought that was a really beautiful film. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at anybody winning.
Paul Thomas Anderson probably should have won for Boogie Nights.
Everybody thinks he should have, and he should have, by the way, because that's a movie that really holds up.
Or even like There Will Be Blood, maybe.
I did not like There Will Be Blood.
I drink your milkshake. That's all I think about with that movie. I know. By the way, I know everybody loves, like a lot of people love There Will Be Blood, and I like it too. But I really just remember, I drink your milkshake.
I remember that soundtrack, the dissonance in that soundtrack giving me just give me such a headache. My cat just woke up like, what are you doing?
What the what? I'm like, we're not going to go through all these nominees, but I am looking forward to watching it. I'm usually have a big party. I'm keeping it mellow this year. I'm just not feeling it this year. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. Yeah. You're going to watch too, right?
I'll go in and out of it.
Okay. I won't text you excessively then.
Yeah, you can text me anything if you think I should be watching for sure. But I'm sad that they're not going to present all of the awards in order to save time. It's like, do we have to have the musical performances? Okay. Do we have to have all these tributes? Because they're the same every fucking year.
So the producers of the Oscars are worried about the ratings, and they should be. But they're doing all of these things to try to appeal to people who the truth are they're never going to come.
Right.
These people are not going to watch. And I'm like, you should be catering to the people who super love movies, and the people who super love movies care about all the categories.
Right.
That's the fucking point of the show. It's like
they know how great Casablanca is.
Yes.
They're on board with Hitchcock. They're on board with sound design.
Yes.
And everything else. They get it. They know what it is, and they love it. And we just want to see our movie stars, you know, in the shot with like 5 of them, and then 4 looking really disappointed. Another one gets excited. I mean, it's the pageantry, and yeah, it's all bullshit. But it's the last one now before the Tonys. It's the last big award.
Yeah.
Like let's just keep it the way it is.
The idea that it's like, wow, we could make a really great Academy Award broadcast if we could just get rid of all these pesky awards that we have to give out. It's like, no, we're tuning in for that part. Like,
yeah, it's better when it was like, I have to say this, like Billy Crystal. When I liked it when he hosted. His shtick like works for that humor, for that audience.
Yeah,
it completely works. It's like when Jimmy, which Jimmy am I thinking
Kimmel.
of? Kimmel, when he takes the audience to the movie across the street with the popcorn, or when Ellen DeGeneres did that selfie thing, like because they were branding it. Yeah. I mean, it's just get to the awards.
That's the shit you cut.
Yeah.
We don't need it. I don't need a comedy routine. I just want to see the awards. That's what the geeks care about. Yes.
Just
geeks like me who legit have read a book called Oscars A to Z.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I stopped tuning in after a while, because I'm just like, the first half hour, either it's great if they have a good host, and they have 3 hosts, and it's 3 women, funny women.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that, but you know, also with everything else that's going on in the world, like let's just have this thing be it what it is and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. Look, I know the Oscars are bullshit. Like, I know it doesn't matter. Like, the all of these movies mean something to different people. Is it really a big deal to me if Coda wins Best Picture over Drive My Car? No, I'm not going to lose sleep over this. Like, it matters to me in my Oscar picks because I want to fucking win and get them all right and beat Smith, the former co-host of this show. Like, Smith and I will exchange our Oscar picks like we do every year, and every year I'll just hope I guessed more correctly than Smith. That's all I want.
That's not too much to ask.
That's not too much to ask. That's it. Is there anything else you're dorking out about, by the way?
Let's just keep it there.
Okay. You're all... I'm like...
It's been an hour.
Yeah, we're over an hour. Sorry, everybody. I do love to talk about the Oscars. I'm such a goober.
You're not a goober.
Well, that's debatable. But this was really fun. I am so glad that we did go, because it has been on our list since the beginning, and I was so happy to rewatch it. It's so watchable. It's so watchable.
I'm going to take some allergy pills and just see what happens.
I'm going to go stare at a Timothy Olyphant picture.
Oh, there you go. That's the stuff.
Where can people find you on the internet, Margo?
You can find me at Brooklyn Fit Chick for Twitter and Instagram, and my site is brooklynfitchick.com.
And if you like the sound of our voices, and I assume you do, we also co-host a podcast called What a Creep, where we talk about creeps of the past and the present, and we end every episode with someone who's not a creep, so that you don't think the world is a terrible dumpster fire. It's really fun. It sounds creepy. It is creepy, but it's also fun, and you should join us. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I'm with you on that.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And if you like this show, you should give us a review. That would be fabulous. And I'll give you a shout out. You can review us on whatever platform you listen to, including Spotify. Spotify does reviews now.
It does.
Yeah, and you can find us at Dorky and Out Show on Twitter and Facebook if you want to, or you could email us because we take requests at dorkyandoutshow@gmail.com. And if you want some stickers, we have stickers. So please email us your address. We won't spam you. I promise.
Yes.
And you can find me at thesoniashow.com, Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram, and the TikTok. Thanks for talking about Go with me.
Thank you, my friend. I'm going to start dreaming about Timothy Olyphant and the Santa hat.
Ho, ho, ho.